Live from the Man Cave, treadmills and tangents with Coach Aaron Cerrone and his army of wellness warriors. Live in discussion of all things health and wellness, along with community topics they happen to stumble upon.
Omaha, good morning again to you on another wonderful Saturday. This is Coach coming at you with another edition of Treadmills and Tangents. Fellas, how are we doing today?
Good.
We got
Saturday.
Sam and Timmy on another good Saturday. Fellas, what's new? What's new in your lives?
Not a whole lot.
I should probably know that since you're my co-host, but the audience doesn't know that.
What is new?
what is new?
Baby will be turning a year old here in a few.
Yeah, the one.
About a month.
Pound the
Yeah.
one.
The one.
He's
Turning a year. You guys planning a big party?
I don't know how big it's going to be. You know, my wife's
You
a
gotta
little
get
bit
a
more on the
smash cake. You getting a
conservative.
smash
yeah,
cake?
Always gotta
they're
have a
doing a
smash
smash
Are
cake.
you getting one for yourself?
No, I don't
Yeah,
eat
he
cake.
will. He will.
What?
I still don't eat, man. You know, I dabble with the French fries and the Halo top.
So
but I still,
your diet is
Correct,
restricted for you.
yes.
It's not that you don't.
Oh, I like cake.
Okay, I'm checking.
if you remember last year at my birthday, we were out doing the
oh yeah,
instructor
yeah.
development.
I
I
I
had
had
some
my
cake.
daughter's friends have been over and they'll say, "I don't like cake," and I'm like, "What is the matter with you? Like, who doesn't? That's bizarre to me."
Oh, I like cake. I
kinda
just am trying to stay in them skinny jeans.
I'm tracking. I'm scared.
So speaking of,
You
something
struck
to do
me
with my
more as a
life.
bell bottom man.
I went to the mall.
Wranglers? You wear some Wranglers?
No, I actually. So
That's more my generation. Throw some Wranglers on.
I
I
didn't
don't know.
know what
Wranglers
kind
are
of
still around.
yeah.
Here comes
I got
Wranglers.
Wranglers.
I don't even know
He's
what kind of-
one tough
Levi's,
customer.
too.
Maybe I
Remember
do
those
have
commercials?
Wranglers.
Yeah,
I think they're
you
like the loose fit Wranglers. And then I
Boot
do have
cut.
I have a pair of American Eagles that I bought secondhand just for $5 at Goodwill one day to see if they would fit, and they do. So
And they do?
the new thing.
That was,
so that I was going to bring
that was
up
a terrible story.
It was a terrible story.
I thought
It
you were
was
just
a really
somewhere.
bad segue.
Really bad
So we went to
segue.
the mall
That's
a couple weeks ago around Easter to see the Easter Bunny and do all that fun stuff. I haven't been to the mall in I can't tell you how long, and that's where we were going to Build-A-Bear. So we actually went to the mall and we were walking around.
Do you go to the mall specifically for Build-A-Bear?
Yes. Well,
For you.
no. Well, like once.
So yeah, he does.
I have a lot of Build-A-Bears in my house.
All right.
So we went into, and so I was like, hey, let's go into American Eagle. Like, I have the one pair of jeans. I like them. They fit well.
Was it?
I realized
He
I am
wanted to go there the
definitely,
whole time. Oh, look, there's American.
the whole reason
Lego.
why he went
I'm
to the mall.
definitely
What a happenstance
in
that
my
is.
30s, and nothing in there looked like something I would wear. I also couldn't believe how much they want for a pair of jeans. No offense.
Well, you
to
gotta
American Eagle,
understand, too,
but
trending, so it's coming and going
Holy
fast.
moly. And then
How much do they want for jeans?
like $75.
oh, my God.
I paid $5 for the same.
That's
well,
truth be told, that's probably
pretty average
now.
anymore.
that's insanity.
I'm still a $20 pair of jean guy.
That's where I'm
I'll
at.
go in search of $20 pairs of
You
jeans.
sent me to Yonkers, $20 pair of jeans. I'm good.
Right. I'll watch the sales, Kohl's and
You
Penny's.
know
and
who has
stuff,
good jeans? You're gonna laugh at me. Tractor Supply.
I will
I
not laugh
believe
at
that.
you on that because I completely
Now,
believe that.
and they're durable as hell. I mean, they're made of like canvas, but
Yeah.
no, but they do have all kinds of jeans there. That some are expensive. There's like $60, $70 pairs of jeans there, but they're meant to be built.
There's that.
But I bet they'll
there's
last
that
you a
one over
lifetime.
on
Yeah,
Dodge
they're meant to
Street
be
that
built to
opened.
be run over by a tractor and still be okay.
And I can't think of what it's called. They always have the funny commercials. There's that place that opened over on off of Dodge that is kind of a similar outdoor. They always have the funny commercials with the guy. Like they're always like hand drawn little cartoons.
Thank God they didn't pay you to be a spokesman.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what?
Just screw that.
it's early.
Pimp.
And I have not had coffee yet.
Anyway, Tractor Supply.
Is it
nice to
Duluth?
meet you.
Is it Duluth? The Duluth
Oh,
Trading
Duluth.
Company.
Duluth Trading Company.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They have like the the funny commercials.
Yep,
They're
yep.
like, yeah, okay, that is.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
I'm trying. So Tim's in his skinny jeans.
Tim's not. So we went to another store. We went to another one, and it was H&M or something. My wife's like, "Let's go in here." Walking there, I'm like, "Who wears this stuff?"
H&M? That's like going into
Teenagers.
I was so
Teenage girls.
Yeah.
We made a loop. There's a men's quote unquote men's section. I made a loop through and was like, "Yeah, no, I'm just gonna
No,
go out
that's
here."
not a men's section.
And this is
That's
why
a
we
boys
don't go to the
section.
mall anymore.
That is a boys
I was just-
section.
and this is why I don't go to the mall anymore because no, it was weird, man. Don't go to the mall.
It was weird, man. Dude, I was in the mall when I had my son Dominic with me, and he was little, and we were at Oakview Mall, and they got that play area downstairs. He was still at that age where he would just wander off, and so I really had to watch him like a hawk. So I had him and Sophia with, and Sophia was in playing, and I turned around, and he wandered off.
Oh no.
So usually I would just wait a minute. I didn't panic. I would wait a minute. I would just kind of scan the area because he was usually right there. Well, this particular time, I sat there and I was scanning and I wasn't seeing him and I had that oh shoot moment start to happen. And I'm looking. I'm getting ready to start dashing up and down for the exits. And he comes walking out of the one store like something caught his eye, and he looks at me. I'm like, oh my, and you just want to scream at him,
Right.
don't ever do that. But you just run over to him, pick him up. What the funny part is a couple days later, one of the moms from their school came up to me. She was like, hey, I saw you in the mall. She goes, you had that really panicked look on your face like you had just lost. I was like, yup.
Like, funny story I had.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
exactly where I was at that point. That's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
That is the worst feeling in the world.
Heart
You turn
just
around,
drops
you're
and
like,
you're-
where'd
oh,
they go?
We had that happen with my sister, not at a mall, but we had just moved here. We were military when we moved here, and we were at the temporary living facility, had a little park. So my brother and I are a little older, and we're there with her. Boys being boys, we start jacking around doing stuff. Turn around, no sister.
It's gone.
Can't find her. Walk around, can't find her. Like, well, we gotta go tell mom and dad we lost her. So go back to the.
Now you're worried about
knock
who's
on
going to get in trouble.
Mom
You
comes-
lost her. No, you lost her.
So
No.
we're like, we can't find Carissa. We're crying. Like, we don't know where she went, yada, yada. And like, so we go on. They're like, we're going to have to call the cops and try to find them. And they're very disappointed. And they had her in the back bathroom. She had gone back to she figured out where we had been. But man, whew,
So who found her?
she went home. She went back to where we were staying. And so my
By
dad
herself?
had her back in the back
Oh,
room.
so you guys were dead meat anyway.
Oh right, yeah. And there was the real yes. There was that real like that full
Or
moment
was
of
it the
panic
quote
where
unquote
you're-
coming to Jesus talk?
right. And that was this would have been about like 15, 20 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So back when a lot of that stuff was still really starting, like with the Adam Story, the guy from America's Most Wanted, and some
Oh,
of
yeah,
that. So
all
it was
the Amber Alerts were starting to come
right,
around.
just freaked
See,
out.
when I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania, so the whole town was our playground. We were gone for hours. We'd be miles away on our bike. And people say it was a different time. I think it's just the culture you grow up in. Like small towns, people tend to watch out for each other. Everybody knows everybody. Like you run through yards, people know who you are.
Well, and I think a part of it too is social media makes it more.
Well,
You know.
news travels faster.
yeah.
Information travels faster. I don't think like the nut house suddenly let out. and
no.
everybody was
That's always been
everywhere.
around.
I mean, there are more people now, but we're more sensitive to it, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong.
and I feel like people nowadays are more about themselves. Like I care about me and what's important to me.
Yeah, not watching out.
right,
for-
right. And I don't.
At my
care.
town where I grew up, everybody watched out for everybody. Like
Sure.
when you're on the playgrounds were always packed, but it was like the unwritten rule. The older kids watched out for everybody, right? If somebody strange came up, everybody kind of stopped, and the older kids were just keeping a tab on who's that. We don't know who that is. You know, it's kind of like that. You're on our turf, you know? Yeah, that's unfortunate because I really wish, I feel like my kids are missing out on a small town upbringing because there's something unique about that.
Right.
That, you know, that everybody knows everybody. And, you know, you're in this little cocoon, this safe cocoon that the whole outside world is out there. Don't go out there. You'll get lost and never come back. I remember being told that. Don't go to the city. You'll get lost and never come back. They'll snatch you up. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then, of course, you leave the small town, you realize, wow, they're really sheltered. But it's kind of cool. But then again, that was in the 70s and 80s where we didn't have cell phones, no internet. Like you got your information from the paper and it was always a day late. You could live like that, which was kind of cool. Anyhow.
That's one of our tangents from the treadmill.
That
Just in case anybody was waiting for one, that might be our first tangent we've had.
No, that's not the
Where
first.
are they going with this?
Right.
And we don't care. All right. Guys, aging, what do you think?
I think
sucks.
I've aged well.
I've aged
I mean,
quite
he
well.
started balding
I mean,
at 12.
I started aging early, so
so
I'm starting to gray. The last 4 years, I'm starting to gray.
yeah,
I got
same
longer
here.
hair. I try to keep my hair long too. Every time I get a haircut, she goes, "What are we doing for you today?" I go, "Just cut the gray ones." And the one guy goes, "Honey, if I could do that, we'd be billionaires." I go, "Yes, we would."
if I could just have hair to cut,
Just
I'd be
cut.
all right.
Is it just the top of your head, or is like?
It's the top.
But you still grow facial hair, or is that balding too?
Well,
No, that actually grows
it just
in
comes in
patches.
patchy. He's like Joe
Patchy.
Dirt. Like it just grows in all redneck.
I want to
way.
ask what your legs look like. All right, I should know
shaves
that.
them.
I see you in short sleeve.
He,
Yeah,
shaves, he shaves his legs.
But I don't pay attention to
Yeah.
men's legs.
Yeah.
the glisten
Do you
off
really
the-
shave your
No, I
legs?
The
don't.
glisten from in the gym.
I know
is
some guys
insane.
that shave their legs.
Some, I know some
It
guys who
creeps
do too.
me out, and I don't know why it does. It just creeps me out.
I know a guy at works who shaves his arms.
Oh, what?
He was a wrestler.
So
So back when he wrestled, it was, I don't know, he had something about when he wrestled, pulling the hair and stuff in the arms. So he
now I've
shaved
heard
his
of
arms.
like obviously swimmers would shave. I've heard bikers shaving because if you're wrecking the road rash and you can get infections. But why? I don't understand why a wrestler would.
Just the
It doesn't
pull of the
provide
hair.
that much
It
grip.
really doesn't, but I don't know. He did it, and
Or is that just his backstory? That's
could be his
that's
backstory.
or cover story, I should say.
it could be.
Yeah, I'm a wrestler.
He's like an underground Jello wrestling league or something like that. No hair in the
But
Jello.
I found that one pretty weird.
Yeah, that's
No
pretty
doubt.
weird.
Anyway, I got 10 harmless or not so harmless habits that could age you. some of these are common sense to me. No, maybe not common sense to everybody. So let's talk about them.
All right.
So the first one is allowing too much screen time, i.e. on your iPod or not iPod.
Tablet, iPhone.
Some kids still have iPods. I mean, the iPod Touch is still around, the screen.
Oh, did they have a screen?
Yeah.
Oh, I never had one. I was like, anyway, too much time on your phone or computer.
Had you said a Zune, I would have busted out laughing. But you said an iPod, so you're good.
A Zune.
Microsoft Zune, they have.
Oh, you know what?
original
My
before that.
father-in-law had one of those, a Zune. He's all about Microsoft, so he got the Zune.
Bet he regrets that
Yeah, I
decision.
was gonna say.
He's like the one person that bought one.
That could be. That could be.
Anyway.
Sheldon
Anyway,
Buffett
it said, the article says, the more I restrict screen time, the more my quality of life improves. To me, this is just a production thing. Like, you're more
Absolutely.
productive
Agreed.
if you're not dorking around. Now, at night, what do they call it? The blue light, where if you subject yourself to too much blue light, you don't sleep as well. I think once you get on, I've done this. I've laid in bed and made the mistake of picking up my phone, and then 2 hours later, I'm still laying in bed awake.
Right.
Because, you know, your circadian rhythm is affected by light. So if you're bombarding your eyes with light, obviously you're going to want to stay awake longer. So,
Right.
But to me, that's just a productivity time. You could be doing so much more than just dorking around on social media.
I think
Unless that's your job, then I get it.
Sure.
But how many people have that kind of a job?
from a parenting standpoint, I think it makes a difference too. Maybe not even so much related to health, but I'll catch myself sometimes. I'll get sucked into Facebook when I'm looking at something, and I look down, and the baby's in his bouncer, and he's looking up at me, and I look at him, and he just starts laughing and playing. I'm like, man, this kid's just staring at me, and I'm not paying
I should be
attention to
thinking,
him. So then I'm like, man, I need to put this away where I can't even see
doubt.
it,
No
and
doubt.
sit on the floor, and I'll catch myself
on
still doing
on
it.
our choose one lose one board at the gym. I've put less screen time or
Yeah.
less phone time just to force
It's just
myself
it's
to-
gotten so convenient. It's easy
Yeah, I
to get
gotta
sucked into that
force myself.
world. So
Next one's not drinking enough water. I think people are on opposite ends of this.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to find that happy medium. People either are chronically dehydrated, which is not good, or overhydrated. And it used to be, the mantra used to be, drink until it's clear. Drink
Yeah,
until your
correct.
urine's clear. But that's actually not good.
right, you're
right?
overhydrated.
You're overhydrated, right? So your urine should be like a tint of yellow,
Yep.
right? That way you got a good level of electrolytes and minerals and
a soft lemonade.
a soft.
The jokes don't get any better, folks.
A soft. So if you're peeing a soft lemonade, you're good.
Yeah.
Right. So and I tell people, I don't know how much water. Like I tell people, shoot for a gallon. Right. Because that's a Gatorade bottle every 2 hours, and you're staying hydrated. If you don't get a gallon, just look at what's coming out, and if it's a soft lemonade,
You're good.
you're good. Now if it's like dark yellow and smells like rust,
If it's right.
you
If
probably
it's
need a little
cider,
water.
Yeah, you probably
not
need that.
good.
yeah, if it smells like
A little
cider,
acidic.
And if you're
sheesh.
peeing water, also not good.
Unless you've eaten asparagus, then you know.
The smell of asparagus,
Something's up.
absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt. Postponing checkups. Basically, I'm not big on going to the doctor.
I'm not either, so-
You know, but here's what I am big on, and I do this every 2 years. Once I turn 40, is I get a full blood panel, full blood workout. I think everybody should do that. I wholeheartedly think everybody should get a full blood. I mean the whole kit and caboodle, not just your lipid panel. Get everything checked: your proteins, your insulin, what's your thyroid doing, what's going on with your liver. Get it all checked. Just be in the know, because something could be going on, you don't even realize it. And unless they do a full blood panel, they're not going to catch it. Half the time, the doctor's not even seeing you; it's a PA seeing you. Right. So then they're just rushing you through it, doing the height, weight, the blood pressure. Everything looks good. Go on your merry way. And something could be wrong.
Sure.
That would come to light if you do the full. So I get a full blood panel. Here's a funny story. So I used to go to a nurse, and she actually worked in OBGYN, and I would just get her to do the blood panel for me. She would just charge me cost and do it. Well, she doesn't work there anymore. So I couldn't get a hold of her to do it. So I was like, how am I going to get this blood panel? Because I go to the VA, and I love the VA guys. I'm not a VA basher. It's got its issues, but any healthcare system has its issues. I've never had bad care at the VA, and I've gone there for surgery. I've had hernia surgery there. I've never had an issue at the VA. I just don't like waiting. So many people trying to use the VA, you just have to wait. So like if I ever have to go to the emergency room, I wait. Like I'll hold out. That time I broke my ribs, I held out till the middle of the night and then went to the emergency room because I knew nobody would be there, right? But so for me to go and get a blood panel, it's just I got to get on the schedule and blah, blah, blah. So I would just go to somewhere in town and just pay cash for it just because it's convenient. But my source was gone. So I was like, where am I going to get this? So I'm in the car and a Mentality commercial came on. And I'm like, whoa, they do blood panels. So I submitted my name. They called me up and said, hey, when would you like to come in for your consultation? I'm like, hey, I just want blood work done. Well, yes, we will do blood work. When do you want to come in for your consultation? And I go, okay, whatever. So I set the consultation. I walk in and they're like, now, when have you had interest in testosterone? I go, I don't. Well, what are your symptoms? I go, I have none. I'm fine. I just want a blood workup.
Sure.
So the nurse walked out a little confused, and the doctor came in, and he starts giving me the list of questions, which they're just doing their job. I get it. He's like, so when have you had an interest in testosterone? I go, I don't. I just want to get a blood panel. And I explained to him, he goes, oh, so you just want blood work? I go, yes. That's what I've been telling everybody up to this point. So they were cool about it, and I got to get the results for this time around. I got to get them early next week. The interaction was like, they were all confused, like,
Sure.
But, it's funny walking in there, and God bless the guys that go and get this treatment. I think if they need it, they should get it. And if it makes your quality of life better, absolutely go for it. But when you walk in, nobody wants to look at anybody. Like everybody's got that little bit of embarrassment trying to be there. I don't know why. Like I get it. Hey, you're getting treatment. Just go for it. Just own it. If you're going to feel better, sleep better. There's lots of reasons to get it.
Sure.
It's not just because you've got erectile dysfunction,
Sure.
right? There's multiple reasons it's beneficial for it. It helps you sleep better, more energy. People think better. They're more clairvoyant, things like that. So anyway, I'm not. You want to postpone checkups, that's fine, but I suggest everybody get blood work done at least every couple of years.
A lot of companies are doing a thing now. We have one for where the district I work for, where you have to complete so many challenges. So every month there's a exercise this much per day, eat, yada, yada. They'll give you recipes and stuff. And if you do all the challenges and get a physical, they give you $150 every year.
Well, there's some companies that are trying to get people to wear the Fitbits, and based on activity level, we'll get credits.
Sure.
The more active you are.
We don't do anything with Fitbits, but we do credits like that too.
Yeah.
We can get about $400 back in a year.
And I do it anyway. So like,
we got to check
up, run laps,
smile, keep smiling every aisle. You get every aisle smiling.
You get smile credit.
It's what we call healthy lifestyles.
Yeah.
So we go get checkups and stuff like that, and
it's good.
Well, it's just insurance companies hedging their bets.
Right.
The healthier you are, the less they'll pay out.
Correct.
I get it. What's the next one? Ignoring SPF. All right. So sunscreen. I'm Italian descent. I got dark skin. Well, I would say I have dark skin. I'm darker complected, and I tan up pretty quick. And I still put sunscreen on. I've had people going like, "Why are you putting that on? You're dark." I go, "I still get burnt."
Right.
I'm like, it doesn't just because I don't get burnt doesn't mean I'm not getting bombarded.
There was the song in the
rays.
'90s. Literally, wear sunscreen. If you take no other advice I give you, wear sunscreen. I'm pretty sure it's by like Baz
and
Luhrmann
now
or something.
they got all kinds of stuff. They got with aloe and moisturizer and this. You know what's crazy? When I went to the desert for the military, and there were guys out there challenging each other to put amplifier on. So you're in the Middle East, and these fools are putting amplifier on. I was like,
no, thank you.
Rice Krispies. No. I was like, that's crazy. Yeah, so put your sunscreen on. I'm all about that.
Agreed,
no matter what your complexion is, put some sunscreen on. It's good for you. The next one, avoiding counseling. I just talked about that with Catherine Hawk the last few episodes ago. The stigma on counseling is that, you got real issues. But, go get checked up, check in, make sure that, what's going through your head isn't way out in left field or you're out to lunch. And, sometimes it's just good to have a sounding board.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? That's why you need mentors and friends that have sounding boards. Sometimes. To me, that's counseling. Like when you can go vent, you can call that person up and vent, that's counseling. Mm-hmm. Right? Just get it off your chest. Let them tell you whether you're overreacting or not, or you're right, or, let's get some help together. It's all good.
That's what I got to do to him. Got to smack him around a bit.
You wish, buddy.
I just smack him for various reasons. Not keeping a bedtime. Yeah,
that's huge. Yes,
I'm guilty of this. Not getting enough sleep. Like I know I should get 8 hours, but I just get busy doing stuff, or I end up on my phone, like I talked about a little bit ago. I need to be better about keeping it regular. Sleep is so important. Like just for
I've been
recovery,
tracking my sleep just to see,
just for thinking clear. Like one of the number of things that age you and makes you unhealthy is lack of sleep. Mm-hmm. Like the studies have proven that ever since the invention of the light bulb, we are sleeping less all the time because we give ourselves ambient light more hours a day. If you think about it, hundreds of years ago, when the sun went down, what'd you do?
Go to sleep.
You went to bed. I mean, there's nothing else to do.
Carry your candle to bed, blow it out, and go night-night.
Yeah, even if you had candles, right?
Sure, it was a stick that was on fire.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, get your sleep, guys. I would say, and if you're an athlete, athletes should be getting like more than 8 hours of sleep. If you're training hard, if you're like, I envy high school kids that can just sleep for days. Right. I wish I could do that. Yeah, get your sleep. Nothing beats sleep. Letting stress rule. I think if you do all those other things, stress will take care of itself. Forgetting to exercise outdoors. There's nothing better than going outside.
Yeah,
I love
agreed.
working out
Kick
outside.
your kids outside and go play. Go running, jumping, climbing trees. That's what kids should be doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, get them outside.
No, what we talked about last week, the Overwatch League, get them off that. Get them outside and do something.
Do not let them join the Overwatch. My grandmother used
out
to
of
always
hose,
say
climb
when we'd
tree.
be out playing for hours and we'd come in, she would always say, "You're going to sleep good tonight. You're out in that fresh air,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? You're
I
going to
always
sleep
heard that
good
too.
tonight." And it's something to be said for fresh air.
Yeah,
No
I love
doubt.
when the weather changes. We open up the big doors
Oh,
at the gym
yeah.
and you just get that
Well,
breeze
just-
coming through. It's so nice.
Just get out in that sun, getting that vitamin D too. It's just
Well, fresh air, being out and letting just running. You begs to be more active when you're outside and just playing. Kids need to play more. Like it breaks my heart when I drive by playgrounds and there's one kid there, two kids. There's just not a
lived on
horde
the
of
playground.
kids.
Yeah.
Just falling all over each other, doing stupid kid stuff. Like go outside, get some bumps and bruises, fall out of a tree,
I loved climbing trees when I was a kid.
climbing
It
trees.
was
Yeah.
great. See who could get to the top.
So you get that high you could go before the brain. I've fallen out of trees.
Oh.
Nothing scarier. Like, I'm falling. Like, that thought that goes, I'm falling, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, smack.
Boom.
And hopefully you can grab onto a branch and catch yourself. What are the last couple here?
And we got falling for fad diets.
Yeah,
Which
we know that. Fad diets come
We've
and
talked
go.
about that more than one time. Not nourishing your body.
Good nutrition, that's obvious. Eat the greens. Good clean protein. Eat your greens. Eat your greens, guys. Come on, just
Absolutely.
eat your greens.
Broccoli.
Eat your greens.
Asparagus.
Chopping broccoli.
Spinach. Absolutely.
And then that was it.
I think that was it, yeah.
Okay, nice, guys. Yeah. So, I mean, I think those are all obvious, but again, we just don't do them.
And sometimes it's good, like, you know it, but then, you listen to the show, you hear it, you're like, oh, yeah, I don't.
It's like that thing your dad tells you a million times, and some stranger says the same thing. You're like, Dad, guess what this guy says? And he just wants to slap you across the head. You're like, I've been telling you that for 10 years.
Right.
But sometimes you just got to hear it from a different source.
Every day
Absolutely.
of my life.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents right here on The Answer, 94.5 FM, 1420 AM. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, everybody, to Treadmills and Tangents. We have Dr. Brad Winterstein back with us again. Dr. Brad, welcome.
Thank you.
And again, bariatric surgeon over at Methodist Hospital and owner of Omaha Float Spa.
Yes.
So you guys haven't floated yet. Again, if you missed our last episode, please go check it out. I recommend everybody do that. But Dr. Brad, I see you a couple times a week sometimes, and you and I always...
Or less.
Or less, depending on your schedule, right? And I'm always bouncing ideas off you. But I remember I want to talk about today, the one day I'd asked you, politics, I get it. People won't agree because it's all based on opinion and subjectivity and fake news, false fact, whatever you want to call it. But I'm still amazed at nutrition, the biological sciences. It's science. And yet we still can't seem to agree on what is proper nutrition.
Exactly.
And so what I would ask you is, being in industry, being a doctor, why is that? Why can't we just seem to get on the same page when it comes to nutrition?
And I think for a long time it's been that way. And what I said was, dogma, overcomes facts a lot. And I think since probably the 60s or 70s when they came out with the food pyramid and saturated fat was bad and the calorie and everything like that, they've tried to apply physics to a biological process. And while they both have some things, this whole calories in, calories out type of mantra has failed. And we see it every day. We see it in my bariatric clinic. We see it just in general if you're out in the public. In no study that I've ever seen or heard of, they've ever found a calorie receptor. It's a hormone receptor, whether it's insulin or all these other hormones, but there's never a calorie receptor. So the fact that your body responds to calories has probably been proven false. I mean, and we know that over the long term.
So hanging our hat on the law of thermodynamics, saying a calorie in, calorie out, more go in and less go out, you're going to gain weight or gain fat. Vice, less going in, more coming out, in theory, you should lose weight and lose body fat.
And in theory, that's true. But we've proven that it's not. You don't know. You can't accurately predict what you're burning in any set of day. Some days you're more active, and some days you're very sedentary based on that. And you can't honestly correct for all of your intake as well. And so no one can tell me that 100 grams of broccoli is the same response as 100 grams of a donut, or 100 calories of broccoli and 100 calories of a donut are the same response metabolically. Although if you just go to the calories in, calories out, that's what we're led to believe.
Right. Now, a lot of people will hang their hat. There was a study done by an Ivy League professor in which he lost X number of pounds by living off of, I think it was like Hostess donuts. And his whole point was you can lose weight on a calorie-restricted diet, which you can. But what did you do to your body? Is he any healthier by losing that weight?
And that's exactly right. It's about what is your health versus what is your weight. I mean, we can get anyone to lose weight. Heck, I can cut off someone's leg. They lost weight, but they're not in a better circumstance, you know? And so, in my view, it's about getting healthy and where we're going to go, where are we starting from, where are we going to go to get healthy. And if weight loss is part of that, great. But if all you're looking for is weight loss, we're probably not in it for the right reason.
Obviously, your profession, you're a surgeon. You make your money by cutting on people. Yeah. But you yourself have said you'd rather not. What percentage do you think of the people you see, their problems are diet-induced?
Well, since I have, in my bariatric clinic, you know, most is going to be diet-induced. There's also psychosocial issues, genetic issues that definitely play a part. There's no doubt about that. A lot of our issues are going to be dietary-induced, nutrition-induced. In my general surgery practice, you know, when people are asked to, you know, remove their gallbladders for certain diseases and things like that, I will say that still in that practice, 75% are going to be dietary-induced problems and not necessarily a strict anatomical or mechanical problem that surgery will fix. Now, I can take your gallbladder out, but that doesn't mean I fixed the problem.
Right. The root cause is still there. You're still eating poorly.
Exactly.
Still putting, you know, poor food in your body. Would you say that we can correct a lot of issues by changing the diet? In other words, if I'm feeling bad or maybe I get diagnosed with issue X, that through diet I can potentially reverse that?
I would say that most chronic diseases that we're going to diagnose people with, not acute, infectious, or anything like that, but chronic diseases, your hypertension, your diabetes, those are what I would call a metabolic disease. You can't prescribe away a metabolic disease. You have to get to the root problem. 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, that is going to be a dietary nutritional problem in and of itself.
Understanding that, and you know, I think more and more people are coming around. Why do dietitians still butt heads? In other words, I posted a picture, and you actually replied to it with a facepalm picture. It was an angel food cake, and sadly, I'll admit, it was in my house. And I'm not throwing my wife under the bus. She bought it because, you know, it's not that I avoid stuff like that. I just, in moderation. It was an angel food cake, but what struck me was it had a fat-free sticker on it, and it had dietitian's choice on it. And I was like, you have to be kidding me. I can't believe there's a dietitian out there that would, because what it does is it gives the impression that it's good for you, that it's okay to eat, when it's just a giant sugar bomb at the end of the day.
Exactly, but it's fat-free, you know, so that's the big thing. And that's what we've been told for, 40 plus years now, is that the fat-free is going to be better for us. But we all know that, a cake can't be dietary approved as, a healthy choice. And that's the way, what it kind of gave its thought to was, okay, this is fine for me to eat because
the dietitian said it's okay. When truth be told, you can take a 1 pound bag of sugar and I can slap fat-free on it. I can slap gluten-free on it. I can slap organic on it. I can slap free range on it. And it's all true. But yet it gives that impression that, okay, well, this is okay for me to eat.
And again, it comes back to what is your body's response to that? And I will say that more and more, it is a hormonal response that we're generating, which is causing all these chronic illnesses, not so much the calorie problem. And that's been shown time and time again.
How bad is sugar?
Oh, gosh.
I think that says it all right there.
Yeah, I would say that, I think it was the New York Times, I may be getting that wrong, that finally exposed, I think in October of last year, that the sugar industry kind of paid off researchers in the 60s for their research to say that fat was bad and sugar was okay, which then once you take away fat, the taste goes away, so you have to add sugars. And now artificial sweeteners, which we know probably raise our insulin levels, although there's no calories. We still have problems with those. And so how bad is sugar? I would say that it is probably at the base of all of our chronic Western diseases right now.
And sadly, it's in more foods than we realize.
It's in anything that doesn't spoil.
So there's a lot of confusion. You think, okay, good sugars, bad sugars. If it's fruit, it's good sugar, it's natural. But essentially the body, correct me if I'm wrong, responds the same way to it.
In fruit, you do have some other micronutrients, probably some fiber that will maybe delay some of the absorption, so you won't see such a rapid rise in insulin. And then at the end of the day, it's all about insulin, at least in my eye right now, is how much your insulin response is, how quickly it responds, and how quickly can we get that insulin response to go away. And unless we let that go away by decreasing our carbohydrate load or intermittent fasting, which is now a interesting topic in and of itself. As long as that insulin level is up, your health problems are going to just continue to rise.
So how many of all the clients you see, some of them you probably go to, look, we can fix this with diet.
Yeah.
How hard is it to convince them to actually change their diet? Because to me, the jury's out, the data's out, yet we still have a heck of a time convincing people what to eat and not what to.
Well, that's, it goes away to our way of life in and of itself. We want easy, quick fixes, and taking a pill is definitely easier than evaluating your diet. And when people say that, certain foods are too expensive and pasta is really cheap, that's all true. And so we have to look for ways to kind of say, how much are you paying for medicine each week? How much is this worth to you? And you have to bring them around to the fact that they know it. They just don't want to accept it, and this is why you have to be brutally honest with people and say that these types of things and these decisions that we make every day will lead to our own path, and whether that's going to be good or whether that's going to be bad.
That's interesting. One of my coaches, Martin Rooney, he always says, it's not that you don't know what to do, it's doing what you know.
Yeah.
Right? And if you ask anybody, which is better, cupcake or broccoli, everybody will say broccoli.
Yeah.
Yet 9.9 out of 10 will choose the cupcake.
Yeah, I'm hoping that comes down to 8.9 out of 10 soon.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah, definitely. Because there is the sweet, addictions and the cravings that come with that. And so, we're up against a big fight, but, it's not that we're going to change everyone. It's just the people that want to change, we're there to help.
What's the number one thing you're seeing right now? As far as the number one problem people are coming to you in your clinic?
I would say the biggest thing that I'm seeing is diabetes and prediabetes. And, if you look at that, you're probably talking diagnosed 50% or more of the adult population is either diabetic or pre-diabetic.
And that's frightening.
And that's diagnosed. I mean, I had a patient get sent to me for some heartburn and possibly looking into a reflux operation. And I spent 20 minutes talking to her thinking, when I looked at all of her stuff beforehand, that she definitely needed an operation for her reflux. But once I met her and started talking to her, I mean, she was just an undiagnosed diabetic for years. Sure enough, just a few simple blood tests that gave me the answer. And, she needs to change her whole way of eating because while her reflux was causing some problems, it was actually the diabetes causing the issue. And so until we could correct that, I bet you she will not have reflux in about 3 to 4 months once we get her back on a plan to.
And it's all diet induced at the end of the day. Diabetic, pre-diabetic. In my mind, if a doctor tells me I'm pre-diabetic, I'm essentially diabetic at that point.
Yeah, and so
that's just a nice way of saying we're not going to put you on drugs yet.
True. That's exactly true. And so the other thing is when you look is in the healthcare is reimbursement too, and that goes to a whole different level.
How many kids are you seeing with diabetes?
My practice really doesn't do anything under 18.
Okay.
But it's out there. I mean, I've worked with children's a little bit in the past, and I have previously operated on a lot of children, anywhere from the age of 12 to maybe 18. And so it does tend to show this, that it is becoming more prevalent. There's no doubt about it.
So for adults, I think we have an impression of people that are diabetic or overweight, but that's not necessarily go hand in hand. I mean,
No, I mean, you look at a lot of the Asian populations, that they're not necessarily overweight, but over the years, they've become more diabetics just like us because, again, in more of a carb-heavy dietary load.
so I'm sure somebody'd be like, "Well, I'm thin and I feel healthy. I can't be diabetic," but it really has nothing to do with your composition all the time.
That's exactly right. It's really about your hormone levels. And to be honest with you, when you're diagnosed with pre-diabetes, if we would have probably checked an insulin level even 5 years before that, if not longer, you would have made the diagnosis of hyperinsulinemia, which is an elevated insulin level, which starts way before even your diabetes and your blood sugars get out of control. Because when your blood sugars get out of control, you're a mess. If we could find a way to have an easier blood test to test insulin, such as pricking the finger like you do with glucose, I think we'd start finding a lot more of these patients well before it becomes a problem of peripheral blood vessel disease or nerve disease or kidney disease and all these things that come with diabetes.
Which that's a good point. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Think, oh, diabetes, I got blood sugar problems. There's much more going on as a result of.
Well, yeah. I mean, what I think of, so type 1 diabetes is a disease where the pancreas does not make insulin. Okay, so anytime that you have a carbohydrate as a type 1 diabetic, you have to help yourself with insulin. So that's a whole different range, okay? But when we talk type 2 diabetes, it's actually a disease of too much insulin and you're just not responding to it. So what people start out with is medications, oral medications that help. Maybe some will flush away glucose through the kidneys. There's a newer one out there. Some of them will help store the energy. But if you get too bad, what do the doctors do? They end up giving more insulin. And so now your problem of too much insulin, in order to just make your blood levels look better, you're giving more insulin. And then at the end of the day, you're making things worse. While you're making your blood levels look worse, every cell in your body has an insulin receptor. And what insulin does is tells you to store energy. And so every cell gets bigger. And that's why we see, obesity. But the other things, people are talking about type 3 diabetes now, which is dementia. So diseases of the brain and dementia, like Alzheimer's, is probably more of a glucose-induced problem. Or an insulin over the time. Polycystic ovarian disease is definitely an insulin problem. And so it's a myriad of every cell in your body will respond to insulin. It's just, if we can lower that down, we start fixing diseases.
Holy smokes, that's our time already. Wow. And again, once we get talking again, I appreciate your time again, Dr. Brad, and looking forward to have you in again and another juicy topic to talk about. And all right, guys, we'll be right back after this. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents right here on The Answer, 94.5 FM, 1420 AM. And welcome back, everybody. You're here with Coach, listening to Treadmills and Tangents. I'm here with my guys, Tim and Sam, my wellness warriors. Fellas, I gotta talk. I gotta address something. So we got Facebook. We got the Twitter, and we got our social media here at Treadmills and Tangents, which I encourage everybody to go to. We put out some good stuff multiple times every day. We got health and fitness tips, and then things that are trending. So a couple weeks ago, I posted something. I meant to talk about it a few episodes ago, but I posted something, and it was a picture. Now, mind you, the gun debate's going on. It's a hot topic. I get it, and it was by no means my attempt to get into the gun debate. What it was, though, is an attempt to have some perspective. And it was a picture of a Honey Boo Boo looking person. And by no means is this meant to be fat shaming. It's just that's the picture that was used. I didn't make this up. And the caption said, if you're genuinely concerned about saving the lives of children, then focus your energy on banning processed foods instead of banning guns. They are 28 times more likely to die from obesity than be murdered by a firearm. And I
posted, you want to talk about facts or murder rates? Well, here's the fact. And man, the comments, thank God I had the profanity filter on our Facebook.
Agreed.
Because the comments that came in on that is
getting hot.
amazing. But, I think it strikes a nerve with people because we want to get all bent out of shape about politics, which is fine. Everybody has that right. But the perspective, let's have some perspective, is that more people die from nutritionally based diseases than anything else. More people die from malpractice in hospitals than are shot by guns, right? We have more self-inflicted damage to ourselves than anything just by the crap we put in our mouth and into our stomach. And then, the kid's pictured with a bunch of French fries and Cocoa Puffs and sodas and just a bunch of garbage. And
with a grin on her face too, like she's so excited to have all that food.
Well, and again, it's not, by no means is this poking at the person in the picture, which, they really didn't even need a person in the picture, to be quite honest. I'm very much against fat shaming and poking fun at people for their weight if they're trying to do something about it. It just goes back to the fact that we do things to ourselves on a daily basis that affect our health and shorten our lifespan just by the food we eat. And really we refuse to eat healthy. Like it's an outright refusal. Like people try to tell me all the time, oh, it's too hard to eat healthy. What's hard about it? Is broccoli heavier than a hamburger that you can't physically pick it up?
They don't have the will to do it. Again, it goes back to the same old change. It's change. It's almost like it's taboo in a way. To some extent.
I've had people say it's too expensive to eat healthy. Well, actually, not really. Now, mind you, some markets do jack up the price.
Yeah.
The fruits and vegetables are more, fresh fruit and vegetables more expensive. The organic sections are more expensive because, it is what it is. But if you really think about it, healthier food is more nutrient dense. You'll eat less of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And if you shop the perimeter of the supermarket, you'll be in and out even faster. So you're buying less food, in and out faster. Now, you do have to shop more often because you really shouldn't have that much food in your house. Good food spoils faster. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah.
I always tell people, you know how you're eating good? How much is in your refrigerator? There shouldn't be that much. Right? Or your pantry. There should be next to nothing in your pantry.
Right.
Because good, fresh food spoils fast. You got to eat it fast. You should be shopping 3 times a week if you're doing it right. But the point in posting this, which I'm good, it's gotten a lot of reaction because it gets people, if nothing else, thinking about nutrition, health, fitness, what are they eating? Next time they pick up the hamburger, maybe they'll think about gun control. I don't know. I don't know if there's any correlation. But the point was that, hey, we're a health and wellness show. Right? It's like we're worried about all these things that could happen to us, and we're not worrying about the things that are happening to us.
Things we can actually control.
That we are doing to ourselves, that we're doing to our kids. It's like one of the comments was, well, just stop eating bad foods. How hard is that? Well, do kids really have a choice? I mean, childhood obesity is through the roof. Like, are kids going to argue with their parents what they're having for dinner that night? They don't know any better. They just, that's what mom and dad's giving me. Like, I like watching. I like people watching. Like when I'm out and about and I, especially at restaurants or at my kids' school or just common dining areas, I watch what overweight people give their kids. Vice health, I assume healthier, but people
health conscious
people give their kids, and it's amazing the differences in the food that they hand their kids. The kid really doesn't have a choice. Like if the kid is always given hamburgers, French fries, milkshakes, processed foods, given Pop-Tarts for breakfast, what's going to happen, right? Vice the parent who makes a conscious effort to give the kid good stuff, scrambled eggs, some oatmeal, avocados, makes the kid eat some greens. And I say makes the kid, but, introduces it in the right way to a kid. Like kids don't know any better. Like my kids used to eat very good food. Used to eat fish. My son used to ask for broccoli and apples for a snack because that's what we started giving him, and that's what he liked. As they got older and got around other kids and they get exposed to treats, quote unquote treats, and obviously that makes a way into their diet, even when they're not around us. But it's like to say kids have a choice, I think is ridiculous.
I would agree.
Yeah, they're not the ones out there buying the food.
I mean, I remember when I was eating growing up, and I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh. Some of the stuff was perfect. Like my dad, God bless his soul, he wouldn't allow anything other than whole milk and real butter in the house, which now we know that's probably better for you than anything, right? But at the same time, you know, he was all about French fries and pizza and, you know, whatever else. You know, I just didn't, you know, it is what it
And
is.
sometimes the parents don't have choices. It all depends on what their budget too. You know.
Yeah,
it's tough. I mean, you could find
To
stuff,
a point,
but
right,
to
yeah.
a point.
You know,
You know.
if you're on a limited budget, there are the cheaper belly fillers, the
Yeah.
rices, you know, pastas, like. But you know, you can be smart about it.
Oh,
as
the
well.
convenience is, I think, what gets people to like, oh, it was a long day. I don't want to cook dinner, so we're gonna run to McDonald's and drop $10 and
They've become
Yeah,
accustomed
burgers.
to the easiness
Well,
of
you
it.
know, it's funny you
fries
say that. Is, you know, I was talking with Joe Westerlin, former owner of CrossFit Omaha, and he works for CrossFit headquarters now and does jiu-jitsu at our gym and does kickboxing privates with me. So he's one of the most, if not the most intelligent person in the area on fitness and nutrition, hands down. And I would debate that all day long, that he's probably the man to go to in the Omaha area and probably the Midwest. But we were talking about fasting and, you know, how to fast. And he was, you know, what's funny is he was talking to one of his peers at one of the seminars. And he was asking the guy, hey, what do you do, you know, when you're in the airport and you can't find food? And, you know, what should you eat? Should you go with the burger and take the bun off or what? And the guy was like, just don't eat. So what do you mean? He goes, what's wrong with just not eating? Like, just fast. So just use it as an opportunity to fast or extend the fast. Like, you don't have to eat in an airport, right? So when you're on the go, it's like, oh, I got to eat. I got to get fast food. Why?
Right.
Now we're talking about adults now, right? You can't,
Yeah.
you know, fasting is probably good for kids to a point, but kids are growing. They need the nutrition. They
Right.
eat more regular than adults do. But, you know, as an adult, when I hear, I had to grab a hamburger, I'm like, what do you mean you had to? Just fat. Don't eat.
Right. Yeah. I used to do breakfast. I used to wake up like, oh, I'm eating breakfast, not because I was hungry, because I woke up and I'm supposed to eat breakfast. And as I've gotten out of that, and now like I fast a lot through the mornings and stuff, it doesn't bother me. It's not like, oh man, I missed breakfast. Like I was just
but
eating
I'm even
breakfast because
talking
I'm
bigger
supposed
than
to.
that. This whole, my day was busy, like Sam said, I got to grab something. Why do you have to grab anything? Just fast.
Sure.
You know, it's not going to kill you. Anyway, I just want to talk about that, you know, when we post stuff, guys, on our Facebook, and I encourage you to go to our Facebook, become members, and like us, not become members. You don't become members. You like us. Become our friends.
Yes.
We need friends.
We do
Become
need
our
friends.
friends on Facebook. But
And give us your opinion. Throw questions on there if you guys have things or topics
absolutely.
you'd like us to
Reach
talk
out
about.
to us. We'll talk about topics. We're always posting stuff, little memes, videos. I like posting a lot of debates and interviews with leading experts on it, and so there's a lot of good information. We're just trying to be a source of information for you guys to live a healthier and a better lifestyle here in the Big O. But anyway, guys, I want to get that out of the way because I got a vibe. I got a vibe going. There's a vibe in the air right now, Timmy.
I feel it.
You feel the vibe?
I do.
Well, hopefully.
Oh.
It is a vibe.
I do love egg whites.
Oh,
Half a stick of butter.
butter's good.
Harry Gold, please.
Melted butter's even better.
Stick it all in a bowl, baby.
Ooh, then what you gonna do with it?
What you doing?
With a wooden spoon.
Whisk. I like me a whisk.
I do indeed,
Mix in
sir.
a cup of flour. You'll be in heaven soon.
Oh, yeah.
Say, everybody haven't seen my balls. They're big and salty and brown. If you ever need a quick
There it is. Well, we don't have salty balls for you, but
do
we
not.
do. We do have some protein bites. We're gonna test
The
here
food
today.
truck got a new horn.
Very.
Well, you know, there's a vibe in the air. and
There was.
sometimes
a vibe.
You got to go with the vibe.
Yeah,
you
there
can't
was.
fight. You can't fight the urge. You can't fight the vibe. But anyway, we got enjoy life, eat freely, protein bites, and 6 grams of plant-based protein. So essentially, it's soy protein. So there's a lot of people that cry poo-poo on soy protein, but you know, again, it's just another protein source. You should vary your protein sources. Allergy-friendly, rich, dense chocolate, pure, decadent chocolate with real bits of cranberry and orange, surrounded by pumpkin seed coating. All natural ingredients. So these 3 bites, and the reason we played salty balls because they're in the shape of a ball. They look like little ping pong balls, is what they look like. And so 3 pieces, 11 grams of protein, 16 grams of carbs, 11 grams of fat, 16 carbs, and 6 grams of protein. So a little heavy on the carbs, but pretty well balanced. A lot of fat, 11 grams of fat. Which one do you guys have?
We have the
Habanero mango.
mango habanero.
Sorry, mango habanero.
Oh, mango habanero. I got cranberry orange.
I'm not much of a habanero person, so this should be interesting.
When you bite into these, it's kind of weird because it almost looks like a candy because the center is a different color than the outer chocolate shell. Not bad. It's the orange really comes through in the cranberry orange one.
Mhm.
They're a little dry for me.
Yeah. The
little
center's,
dry, but-
it's not quite chalky, but it's dry. Like, that you get that chalky chocolate where it's like, woo.
Well, it's definitely not. You know, like when you eat dark chocolate and you get that chalky.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely not milk chocolate.
Right.
Like there's no doubt about it. It's not milk chocolate, but it's good. You can tell. What's it sweetened with? Organic cane sugar and organic invert syrup, which is another form of cane sugar. So it's got real sugar in it. And cocoa powder. You can tell there's a lot of cocoa powder in it.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. It's a good healthy snack. I mean, I'd call it a healthy snack. There's some sugar. There's 11 grams of sugar though, so
That
it's a little
cranberry
too
mango
much
is good.
sugar for me. So, in the terms of health, I would say there's too much sugar in these, but it's a good source of fat though too. I mean, 11 grams of fat's a lot of fat. I mean, it wouldn't be my go-to for fat, but there's a lot worse snacks you could give somebody, especially giving your kids, since we were just talking about giving kids snacks. But there's probably a little too much sugar for my liking in these. Let me try the
Mango habanero.
Mango and habanero. It's like Bobby Flay. You guys ever watch Bobby Flay?
Mm-hmm.
That fool puts mango and habanero on everything. Like when they do those cooking
challenges?
competitions and challenges, and like when a dish comes up and the judges don't know who it is, I'm like, the second you see the mango, I'm like, that's Bobby Flay's right there. I'm like, that's all he does is mango and
Signature.
habanero.
Bam!
I'm not sure what I think of this one.
Yeah, it's not that there's no flavor, but nothing really kind of stuck out to me. It
Nothing
was like,
mango habanero about
Right, I was
it,
like,
personally.
it was
Yeah.
eh. The what was the other one again? Orange.
Orange cranberry. I like that one better.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yes.
What other flavors do they have?
They have a cinnamon. They got a sun butter.
Wait, sun
A
butter?
cinnamon and then like a sun butter.
What's sun butter?
butter that sits in the sun?
Melted
There is
butter?
there is a sun butter.
Look up
What
sun
was in the
butter.
recipe?
It's like sunflower seed butter.
Look up
basically.
sun butter real quick.
All right.
Like there's a sun butter that they actually use like
Sunflower
peanut
seed
butter.
butter?
Basically, it's sunflower seed butter.
What?
Yeah.
Sunflower seed oil. I'll buy that.
They actually got like almond
sun
butter.
Oh,
Sun
like
butter.
almond. Okay, so they take.
So they take sunflower seeds and make
correct sun butter.
Yeah.
You'll love what's in sun butter and what's not. Made from roasted U.S. grown sunflower seeds.
and they grind them up and make a butter out of them.
Correct. And it looks similar to a peanut butter.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
And it also
Sun
has
butter.
7 grams of protein per serving and
love it.
free from top 8 food allergens.
Wow. We'll have to try some sun butter. Learn something new today.
Yeah,
Sun butter.
agreed. Yeah.
we'll get that for the
I
next
love
food
peanut
trip.
butter. Man,
Oh, my
peanut butter is
God.
one of my go-to snacks.
Oh, I love
2 big
it.
spoonfuls of peanut butter, a lot of fat.
I
love
get
it.
celery every weekend, cut it up, and then
Really?
just
Celery.
Little ants on a log.
use it. Yeah, use it to just diesel up. No raisins.
Sam's like,
So
I just dip it right in my peanut butter jar. And
oh
just-
yeah, I just go spoon. I skip the celery. I just grab
I'm
a
with
spoon.
you. I'll just take a spoon.
Problem is you can't talk to anybody for 5 minutes afterwards.
Now here's the question: chunky or creamy?
Oh, it depends on the day, man. Depends on the day.
I disagree.
Fridays is what?
Creamy peanut butter has no use on this planet.
What are you
Maybe in a
talking
recipe
about?
for something. Chunky peanut butter is the only way to do
Chunky
it.
peanut
Maybe
butter.
we should get a debate going on this on Facebook. Chunky or creamy peanut butter?
Chunky.
Oh, we're gonna put that out there. Chunky
should.
peanut
I think we
butter.
should.
Chunky.
Right
is-
into us.
Chunky is life.
peanut. But
I'm-
we want hard reasons why, not hard.
I'm with
reasons.
Coach. It depends on the day.
Depends on the
man,
day. I like some chunky sometimes. I like some
I
creamy
like the
sometimes.
chunky little pieces of peanut and stuff. It's just so good.
Yeah.
I mean, creamy.
I hear you. I'm
if
not
a
saying.
recipe, like
I
a
like
cookie
chunky
recipe or something.
I like chunky, but there's a time and a place for creamy.
Yeah.
in cookies.
Why wouldn't you want chunk? I like some peanut chunks in cookies.
Because sometimes recipe says use creamy peanut butter.
Sometimes it says
Who
use
am I-
chunky.
Who am I to not follow the rules?
Your statement. All right. So the great debate will continue. Chunky versus creamy peanut. But anyway, enjoy life. Protein bites. Not bad. A little too much sugar for us, but a little bland on the flavor side. But again, a decent snack, I would say. I would call it a decent snack. Not a
Compared
great
to some
snack.
other things out there.
A
Yeah.
decent snack. But you can find these in Hy-Vee again as well in the organic section. At least up at one on Maple anyway. We can't
108th and
verify
4th
all
Street.
the other. Why do I keep saying
I don't
Maple,
know why I
dude?
keep saying Maple, but
I
it's
do that
108th
all
and
the
4th
time.
Street.
You do.
It's on Fort. Why?
Yeah.
That's probably
I don't
why
know why I
he
do
forgets to
that.
visit you at work. He goes to 108th and Maple. He's like, I don't see the Hy-Vee here. I
That's
don't know
why
where it went.
every time I go to pick something, I'm like, Sam, where is it again? Oh, I'm on Maple.
Like, there's no Hy-Vee here. I don't know where it is.
I don't know the problem. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to Treadmills and Tangents. We're here every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. right here on The Answer, 94.5 FM, 1420 a.m. Have yourself a good weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Tune in each Saturday morning with fun banter on what it takes to live a healthier, happier, and more vibrant life in the Big O. Treadmills and Tangents with Coach Aaron Cerrone and his army of wellness warriors.